Hi, welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. So we saw that cocaine was pulled out of Coca-Cola out of basically racism, claiming that once blacks could start drinking this out of a bottle, they went on these murderous rampages. And so Coke, by 1903, bowed to these white fears and removed the cocaine, and in its place put more sugar and caffeine in the drink. Then by 1914, cocaine was banned. And that'd be a good question for people like Ron Paul that wants to legalize drugs. I think it'd be worthwhile asking him, do you think it ought to be okay for Coca-Cola to put cocaine back in Coca-Cola? If they're for the legalization of drugs, and they should not be opposed to that in any way, shape, or form. I'm curious to know what the answer to that question would be. The extraction now, they still have to pull the psychoactive elements out of coca. They still have to do that before they make Coca-Cola. That extraction is now done at a New Jersey chemical processing facility by a company called Stepan. In 2003, for instance, they imported 175,000 kilograms of coca for Coca-Cola. That's enough to make more than $200 million worth of street cocaine. So that is that's the latest on the front from Coca-Cola. More information than you ever needed about one of your favorite soft drinks. Let's grab a quick clip one. This morning, Chuck Hagel, going through his hearing in the Senate committee to become the next Secretary of Defense. Now, all you need to know about this, there's two things. He's in favor of nuclear disarmament, virtually unilateral, U.S. just disarming itself of nuclear weapons, and Iran is enthusiastic about him. Iran, the country of Iran, has endorsed him enthusiastically. That's all you need to know. He's in favor of nuclear disarmament, unilateral, and Iran loves him. That's all you need to know about whether Chuck Hagel is a good choice to be Secretary of Defense. All the rest is kind of incidental. And here's Senator James Inhofe this morning from the Senate committee hearing, kind of boring in on Chuck Hagel on this Iran business. And Chuck Hagel didn't like it and dodged the question. Let's listen.
My time has expired, but I have one last question I'd like to ask, and that is, given that Iran, the people, and I'm quoting right now from Iran, people of the Middle East, the Muslim region, and the North Africa, people of these regions hate America from the bottom of their heart. It further said Israel is a cancerous tumor in the heart of Islamic world. They further said Iran's warriors are ready and willing to wipe Israel off the map. The question I'd like to ask you, and you can answer for the record if you'd like, is why do you think that the Iranian Foreign Ministry so strongly supports your nomination to be the Secretary of Defense?
I have a difficult enough time with American politics, Senator. I have no idea, but thank you. And I'll be glad to respond further for the record.
But he didn't. That was the last thing he said on the subject. So that's all you need to know about Chuck Hagel. He's in favor, supports unilateral nuclear disarmament, floated that idea 2009, 2010, not in the distant past, but recently. And Iran loves him, and Israel is very, very nervous about him. All you need to know. Well, let's go to the phones, 888-589-8840. Let's go to Kurt in Grants Pass. Kurt, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Brian, or good afternoon your time. You were talking about abortion, the Right to Life rally. Here in Grants Pass, we maybe had 300 or 400 people show up for the rally. It was a cool, sunny day. Grants Pass is a town of about 34,000 people. And at the park rally, there was not one single pastor that I knew was there. And I don't know if it's because Myrna Schoenfeld, who's a Catholic, leads this yearly thing. But one man who's gone home to be with the Lord, he and his wife were there cold weather in 2009 in their 90s. He was there in 2010 during wet weather to greet us as we walked in. And he went home to be with the Lord in 2011. Talk about politics. Dr. D. James Kennedy wasn't afraid to talk about abortion. He had two messages that I have on tape: lies, lies, and more lies, and then thou shalt not murder. Where I went to church for 9 years, I'd still be there if the pastor hadn't sinned and stepped down as a pastor. He did several messages in 1991, and he referred to 28 scripture verses about life. Starting, and one of them that I used, a small chance at church to speak on Pulpit Freedom Sunday, was Jeremiah 1:5. And then also about when Mary went to tell Elizabeth she was with child, the baby, which was John the Baptist, sleep with joy or something to that effect.
Yeah.
It's life.
That was as in the scripture twice in that passage refers to it as a baby in the womb, not a clump of cells, but John the Baptist described as a baby in the womb, capable of emotional response. The baby in her womb leaped for joy. Well, thanks, Kurt. I appreciate the call. And very clearly, D. James Kennedy was one of those prophetic voices like John the Baptist, completely fearless and taking a stand for life and for natural marriage. Let's go to Wayne, Palestine, Texas. Wayne, you're on Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Brian, thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, you bet.
Wanted to let you know I did call the Boy Scouts. I'm a former Scout myself, and I did call the Boy Scouts. And on that line, when they answer the phone, as soon as they know what you're calling about, they flip you over to a voicemail that tells you to get on their website, boyscouts.org. And that's where they're taking all their comments and replies now.
So is there a way for you to register some kind of comment on their website? Can you indicate how you're positioned on the issue?
I actually haven't gotten to my laptop yet. I'm out traveling right now.
Okay.
But I haven't gotten to my laptop yet to find out the answer to that. But they made it sound like if you go to the website, there's a place for you to make your comment.
Okay, and that may be what we're left with. But I'll tell you what that means, Wayne, is that means that the American people have overwhelmed their headquarters. I don't believe they had any idea of the hornet's nest that they were poking a stick into when they floated this idea of a change. And again, I got to tell you, I believe it's a done deal. I believe they have capitulated. I'll be the most surprised guy in the room if they reverse field. That's why it's so important that we let them know how we feel about this so they understand that the American people are simply not with them on this idea. They do not want homosexuals serving as role models for young boys. The American people do not want their sons placed at sexual risk. We know that pedophiles will prey on organizations like the Boy Scouts because it's a target-rich environment for them. And American families are simply going to not want to take a chance that the Boy Scouts are not effectively screening for this. And we know that homosexuals offend against children at 10 times the rate that heterosexuals do. Now, sexual offense against a child is inexcusable, horrific, no matter what. But when social research tells you that they offend at 10 times the rate that heterosexuals do, then you have to pursue an extra level of caution. The Boy Scouts are absolutely right not to allow homosexuals to serve as scoutmasters or even in a scout troop. In other words, you really can't have Boy Scouts that are open homosexuals because they're going to be mingling. They're going to be in the same tent. They're going to be on camping trips. They're going to be in cabins with boys, and you just can't take the risk of the kind of sexual tension and misconduct that easily could happen. All right, Wayne, thank you very much for that. So again, if you haven't called the Boy Scouts, do and register your opinion. They're obviously, I think, getting overwhelmed with calls, and that's why they're shunning people now to their voicemail. Let's go to Monty in Culpeper, Virginia. Monty, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Brian, thank you. You know, you could do a whole program on mascot name changes in the name of culture and all that other stuff between religion, but you said Stanford changed to Cardinals from India. Well, where my daughter and son go, William and Mary, I think they went from the Indians to the tribe, which the tribe could be all those Muslims over in Afghanistan and who knows where else, multicultural tribes. And Redskins are still Redskins. I'm about 65 miles from Redskins Stadium.
Well, you know, and I think there's going to be a lot of pressure. I would not be surprised to see the Washington Redskins fold on this. I mean, I don't know if it's their president or somebody else in leadership there's already making noises about this is a racist thing and we've got to make a change here.
Brian, now you probably know my old school, Wake Forest University, what their name was. Do you know what it is, mascot?
The Demon Deacons.
I wish they would change.
Now, maybe that's a mascot that would be up for reconsideration.
Anyway, you're my George Washington of talk show host, and God bless you, Brian.
All right. Thank you, Monty. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. And, you know, NCAA went after University of North Dakota. They are the Fighting Sioux And the NCAA said to them, if you don't change, and they're one of the best hockey programs, college hockey programs in the country, NCAA said, if you don't change your mascot, you're not going to be eligible to play in the postseason tournament. You got to get rid of the name. You got to get rid of the logo. I mean, they had a fighting suit in the middle of their hockey arena, the middle of the ice, and said, you got to get rid of that. Got to get it off your uniforms. And so the politically correct machine has been cranked up and in high gear. And again, there's a reason why these schools choose a mascot. I mean, you want a mascot that displays or is associated with certain characteristics, certain positive characteristics that you would like to see displayed on the field of athletic combat. So, you'll pick a bulldog, you'll pick a cougar, you'll pick a lion, you'll pick a panther, not because you're making fun of these things or mocking them or ridiculing them, but there's something there. There is strength. There is agility. There is aggressiveness. There's boldness. Those are the things that you want to be displayed. That's why these schools pick Native Americans, because they're called the Braves. Atlanta, what are they called? They're called the Braves. So why did they pick them? Because they recognized that there was bravery there. There was courage there. There was a willingness to go fearlessly into battle there, and that's why they picked them as their symbol. So we'll follow all of that and see how that all plays out. And we come back, we're going to talk about the immigration issue. Got some sound bites on that, and then we got some more on Second Amendment. We'll talk about gun control, and we'll talk about we'll play a soundbite of a housewife, taking it to a United States senator in the hearings yesterday. Focal Point, AFR Talk, back after the news.